So now we have the zine all set up and we have copy on the pages where it needs to be. So the next thing I want you to do is I want you to work out the cover. And I want you to put a lot of time into it because this will set the tone for the entire zine, or if it were a brochure, it would do that, or a book. What's on the cover gives you your color scheme, some type, and just a general visual attitude. The first thing we're going to do before we get started designing is we want to take the page number off of the cover. So we have it set up in the parent page. You can see them right there, but we only want it to not show up on this page. We still want to have the page numbers on these three spreads. So the way you do that is the page above the parent that says none, you can drag it on to page 1 and that will take away the parent page attachment to that page. So now, as you can see, page 1 has no number. And we can also do it to the back cover. We don't want a page number on the back cover either. So if I take that none and drag it down, it is gone. As for the design elements for this first page, we're starting with the cover. We start with the type. So this is the name I decided on for my zine about Alvin Lustig. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is to grab some reference of the designer you've chosen. So in my case, I found these pieces that Alvin Lustig had done, and it really gives me some good information for the cover as far as circles, lines, kind of geometric, red with blue or black and white. I like this sans serif type here with elements of typography. So make sure that you put some pieces to the side like that of your designer that give you a direction to go in that goes straight from their work. So with that in mind, this is what I came up with. And you can see I followed the type from this arts and architecture. I followed some of the lines from the side of that and the blue and the overall kind of geometric look. And so this is what my cover ends up being. So you could see that when I get to my spread and some of the other pages, the type that I used here, which is next, I'll be using on the inside. And then I could use this type, maybe this is called Lustig Elements. I could use this for chapter titles if I wanted to. It also gives me the color scheme of blue, red, black, and white. So this is a very important part of setting the look on this zine. And if it were a brochure or a booklet or a book or anything else, it would be the same case. So once you finish designing that, I want you to export just that page. So you're going to call it the cover, and you're going to do JPEG. I don't want a PDF, I want a JPEG. You're going to only do page 1, and that's really important. The resolution can be 150 RGB since we're showing it digitally, and that's it. And then when I go to the discussion, I would insert that. And remember to insert it, reply, and then go to insert image, upload image. Okay? And then when everyone gets a chance to look it over, I want you to definitely throw down some feedback of what's working, the readability, does it draw you in, does it feel like that designer's work if you're familiar with them. Maybe you weigh in on the covers in this discussion that you understand the work of the designer. That would be really helpful, and get everything on track before we put the rest of the pages together. Okay, we have our copy in here, and now we want to start laying things out. For this week, I only want you to do this spread. You're going to do the cover and put that JPEG into the discussion, and then I want you to do this spread so that I can see kind of where you're going with this and help you out before you do the whole thing. Where I would probably start is with the columns and margin. So right now I have this margin set at 0.625. And remember, that's important for the cover also. That text needs to set right on the margins. So I've got this set to that, but what I might want also is columns. So before we do that, let's go to the parent page on both pages, and let's set up the margins and columns there, so they will affect the entire document. So 0.625, I think that's a good margin, allows room for the page numbers. But what might be interesting is to put this layout at 3 columns wide. And you can see that it's putting a gutter in between. So the gutter that it's defaulted is 0.1667. So I'm going to leave that for now. Again, you can always change these, but I think this works. So I did that in the parent page. So when I go down to page 1, you can see that it's all in there. So with that, I could actually lay the body copy wherever I wanted. I don't have to lay it at the top. I could put it at 2 columns across like that. I could put it at 3 columns, but make it shorter. There's a lot of different ways I can go with this copy now that I have a column layout. Now I want to style the copy. So first of all is my chapter title. Now I'm going to actually make this chapter title separate. I'm not going to keep it with the copy. So I'm going to take that away and I'm going to put it in its own box. That way I can move it to the next page. So what I'm thinking I want is this set right there, this chunk of copy for the cover set there. Remember I said that your cover kind of sets the style. So I think what I'm going to do is make this my paragraph style and open my paragraph styles. And I'm going to just use this as a starting point. So I'm going to hit plus and I'm going to make a paragraph style here called subheads because I want this to match somewhat this copy that's on the cover. So I'm going to apply that, subheads. And it's a little small, so I'm going to go up just a little bit here to, looking at 14 point. And I want to take away some of this text. This I got from ChatGPT. I'm just going to leave it as the early years and education. That's the beauty of getting your copy from ChatGPT is that you can modify it. So for right now, I'm going to make this my subhead. So I'm going to go here and redefine that. And these paragraph styles are especially important when you're doing a book like this. So now I want to do my body copy. So I'm going to select all this and I'm going to do the same type, that O next, because it has a huge family of different weights. So this is a good combination of 2 type weights from the same family. You can also combine typefaces. A serif and a sans serif is a really good combination if you're not choosing from the same style. So I'm going to make this regular. And I'm going to go smaller. You don't need to go 12. I would say 10. And usually letting is set up right now as in the preferences to 120%. So that's why 10-point type goes to 12-point letting automatically. But I'm going to put just a little bit more. I'm going to put 10 over 14. So generally letting can be 120% to 140%. So I'm going to bring this up a little bit. Make sure it fits in there. Now, the next thing I have to decide is how do I want to do the alignment of my body copy? And I think that I'm going to try to justify this, which is this one right here, justified with last line aligned left. So the problem you see here is that there's 1, 2, 3 hyphens in this first paragraph. There's a couple in the second one. And then there's also some kind of unusual spacing between letters. So the way we can fix this is first we're going to make a paragraph style for our body copy. So I'm going to call this body copy. You can set up hyphenation settings. So I actually want this to be pretty close to what it is default. At least 5 characters before it breaks. After the first, I'm going to say 3. Before the last 3, just because I don't like short hyphens. I'd prefer they be longer. But I'm also going to set the limit at 2. Generally, you don't want more than 2 hyphens per paragraph. And then the other thing I'm going to do is since I justified my text, I'm going to go to justification. I'm going to adjust this word spacing. Right now it goes from 80% to 133%, which is part of why you get those big rivers of space. You can change that so it only goes 90 to 120%. And then also we can adjust the letter spacing. So I'm going to go -5% to 5%. And of course the desired is to not change it at all. And then the glyph scaling also This is just so that we can get it spaced better. I'm going to go to 102%. So basically what that is you're allowing the type to flow out with space or a little bit of glyph scaling that wouldn't be visible to the naked eye. And that really helps with your type styling for body copy. So then I want to put an image in here, and by now you should have looked through your images that you gathered online. So as I look through this, I see that we're not really talking about his work yet. We're just talking about his early life and where he got training. So I'm going to put an image here that is him, the youngest image I could find of him, which was from a book cover. I'm going to lay that there, and I'm going to have it go to that second column. I have it go off the page and a lot smaller this way. And then I'm just going to set it in. I might adjust that later, but that's kind of the idea. And then this type, actually I can move it over to here, have it go to the bottom of the page, but I've got to wrap it around this box. And remember, text wrap happens from the box itself. So I've got this wraparound bounding box, and if I hold the Option or Alt key, I'll get this dialog box. And I'm just going to put the same amount of wrap that there is in the gutter. Do you see that, how it lines up right with the gutter? And then I'm run out of space a little bit, so I'm just going to move this up, set it so that it lands right on the margin. So I'm on the left and right down at the bottom. I've got my image in here. And then as far as the subhead, I was thinking, since it's on this page by itself, that I would add maybe a circle and a line that I've seen in his work. You want to include graphics that are going to kind of tie in with the look and with your cover, of course. So I've still got the red and black, and I gotta fix this. You can see I'm using kind of the circles that were used there, but a thinner line like these that are used. So you want to make sure that you put some kind of style onto your spread. So now to hand this in, all you do is take a screenshot. Oh, one more thing. Let's do one more thing. I want to go to the Pages panel, to the parent page, and I want to apply a style sheet to these page numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and apply body copy, except for I want to go back to centered. And body copy, except for, and you might have your page numbers aligned left or right, or however you've got them arranged, but I'm assigning that to the same body copy. So now when I go down to pages and look at my document, they're in the same font. So that's my first spread, and that kind of sets the look. Now I have my type styled, and I have my subheads chosen. Okay, so then what you're going to hand in here is a screenshot. And the reason I'm having you do that is because I want to see your margins and columns and spacing. So you're going to take a screenshot of that, and you're going to hand it in here on the assignment. You're going to upload this, and then I'm going to give you feedback on that as far as your initial styling for your spread. So I hope that's helpful. Can't wait to see what you come up with.